Hello. I'm the fellow that told you about making love, and my lover transitioned right in the middle or at the end of it. And it's so good that you heard it as a celebration, because that's what I wanted to convey. It wasn't why did he die if we were having so much fun. It's what better way. And I didn't tell you last time, but he used to quote Esther, happy, healthy, dead, happy, 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 as his way of doing it. So that's something I didn't say to you last time. I did ask you if you had resistance to my desire that I was telling you is so fulfilling and nurturing and fruitful to me for 6 months now, of making this be a dream or something that would bring me more physical time with my partner. Additional time, not to go back, not to in any way erase this 6 months, because finding myself in the non-physical way is a gift I don't want to give back. And you said, no, we don't have any resistance. And I cleared that up, and it was easier by seeing you and being here, because I asked you that question 100 times in my living room, and I told myself, no, we don't, but I somehow didn't believe you. But coming here and being here was helpful for me. And it didn't occur to me till in the middle of the time to say, well, maybe I'm thinking my partner has the resistance to this. And as I say, it feels so nourishing. I know there's some resistance because I'm not there yet. On the other hand, it's the best desire I've ever had, in that it doesn't have to happen tomorrow because all these great things are happening along the way. It's a fruitful desire.
Well, you know what all of this is about. You are helping us and others to soften or blur the line between what is physical and non-physical. In other words, we are really, and you gathered this from the conversation that we've had previously, we are not really great encouragers of you yearning for something different than your focus here in this physical time-space reality. And many times physical beings, especially when they contemplate how nice it is to be in non-physical and how lovely it is to be in a state of non-resistance. It's a nice thought to think about releasing resistance and re-emerging into non-physical. All of that is a blissful thought. And what our work really is about is in helping you to realize and then live a focused experience in this body with non-resistance. And we think that it is that bridging that is what you are really reaching for. And you're explaining it as so many do. In other words, most people do most of their wanting and most of their bridging of what we know and what most physical beings know around the idea of someone making their transition. There's something really wonderful about someone making their transition and getting your attention about life being more than about the physical world. It's when you first turn your attention there. It's a fine line we walk with you, with all of you, as we're wanting you to be that blended being that you are. We want you to be physically focused and allowing the non-physical part of you to flow through you. We talk about the physical you and we talk about the inner being you, not wanting to make two parts of you that you struggle with, but more in an effort to help you be aware that you are more than you know that you are. And that was really all that our effort was about.
Can you feel my partner, and can I use you as a phone line, open phone line to say, because I've asked him, and just like being here with you is different than asking you something in my living room. He sent a bird to his harpsichord, which has never happened, when I said, what do you think about this dream? And this and that. But I'd also, since I'm here and have the privilege of being in the chair, do you sense him, and what does he have to say about this?
What he wants to say is, wasn't it wonderful? And isn't it wonderful?
And those two are true. It is wonderful. And I still haven't heard the answer to if we're eternal and there's no rush to go anywhere else, and why it would not be possible, since I can envision it, and I let the manager say how. That's the beauty of the manager. They say how, but they decide or work it out. And again, it doesn't have to look a certain way. But I'm not asking you actually to encourage me on this, and I wanted the answer from the partner, and that was
Well, the reason that we're responding in the way that we are, because we're wanting you to feel the fullness of all of this. And there's something that you're reaching for that we want to get to the bottom of, because it's a very powerful desire, and we think that you are speaking not only for yourself, but for most who are physically focused. In other words, and it revolves around this thing that we've been talking about in part all day here today, about the physical life and the physical birth and the physical death, and how all of this that you know as life experience on planet Earth fits into the whole of things. In other words, there's not a question that is ever bigger that we feel echoing from the masses of physical consciousness more than how does it all fit together, and where do I go from here, and how important is what I am living in the context of everything else. And we want to say to you, we want to find words to say to you so that you can really feel it, that nothing is more important in the total context of everything than what you are living here and now. And this is what we want to convey to you and from your partner in a way that you can really hear it. And you see, to bring the rest of you in on what he's talking about, he has had a very wonderful experience with someone who has made his transition into non-physical. And now, our friend's most active dream is to, if not in physical form, which he does not really believe is possible right now, this red-hot minute, in dreamscape, let me reconstitute this relationship and live out more of the bliss of it in dreamscape.
The desire is, make this be the dream, and wake up and enjoy telling Don, this dream I had, I went to Abraham, you died while we were having sex. He was into Abraham, he loved it. Again, it's a thrill. You can hear it in my voice, the whole idea of, and by the way, I'm not going to go away and say, well, Abraham said no, so forget it. I wouldn't give away all that I've gotten from this desire. It's just like you said, it keeps bearing fruit.
But what you are reaching for and what your question keeps begging from us is something that physical consciousness is so much wanting to finally understand. And that is this physical time-space reality and the powerful now in which you are focused is the main event. And it really is what you want to keep turning your attention back to. And when you find something and that's not hard for a lot of people to understand, because a lot of people think it's the only event. In other words, it's the only thing that is tangible and really something that they can understand. It's the only thing that they can really chart or come to agreement upon. But what's happening with many of our partners in creation who are coming to understand the bigger picture is sometimes you're wanting so much the relief of something that you're willing to reach other dimensionally for it, when what we all want, and including your partner wants for you, is for you to discover the sensation of relief and therefore the compounding joy as you remain focused in this time-space reality. In other words, we want you to make your dream a physical reality now. We want everything that is important to you. We want you to understand that if you can dream it, if you can want it, and if you can visualize it, and if you can find the feeling place of it, this time-space reality has the ability to deliver it to you here and now.
And that includes what I asked for, right?
It includes everything that you ask for. It includes everything that you ask for. And the reason that we want you to hear this so much is because it's almost as if you're wanting something that you do not believe is possible, so you're fashioning your own scapegoat in order to achieve it in some other way. But that's taking the focus away from what you are here about.
Those are good words, and they're true words. It's not so much scapegoat as these are my resistances toward, like if I wanted a car and I thought money, too fancy. I'm having fun letting each one go at a time. That's why I say it's a process. It's not got to get there tomorrow. And what have I lost? I'm learning to clean up my vibration everywhere I go.
Well, you know, here is the best way perhaps for us to give this to you, and you will understand this. We talked already today about how For years, we called this the science of deliberate creation. And we talked about this triad of intentions of freedom and growth and joy. And the basis of your life is freedom. And the result of it will be this expansion and motion forward. It is inevitable. But the thrust, what you are really reaching for, the goal that you must always set your attention upon is joy. And so we call it this equally balanced triad of intentions. And our physical friends will inevitably say, oh, we hear you, Abraham. We know exactly what you mean. Growth, growth, growth. And we say, yes, growth will come. It cannot help but be the product of what we are all about. Expansion is inevitable, but set your sights on joy. And as you set your sights on joy, then everything comes into balance. And then our physical friends, even though we're talking about letting the thrust be upon joy, are taking so seriously this science of deliberate creation. They are thinking too hard. They are wanting too much. And they are getting out of balance. They are putting emphasis upon desire, but they are falling short of coming into vibrational alignment with desire. So we softened the message and we began speaking about the art of allowing, the art of relaxing and allowing the energy that creates worlds to accommodate you. So, as our friend Jerry often says, the pendulum seems to swing this way and this way and this way and this way. And so people were not very focused, and we talked about the science of deliberate creation, and then you got too focused about the science of deliberate creation. And then we began talking about the art of allowing, and then you get too focused on the art of allowing. And now you are saying, in other words, I'll just allow whatever will be. I'll have my joy in my dreams. And we know that is not exactly what you're saying, but it is sort of the way the pendulum is swinging again, at least with you. And what we want to say is, we would like your perfect balanced life experience to go something like this. Here I am, and I accept that I am source energy, although I cannot really understand that from where I stand, because here I am in a physical body, and I look pretty much like a human being. But I want to feel good about who I am, and I want to feel my connection with whatever this source stuff is that Abraham's talking about. And now we want you to stand in the focused environment which your intentions, long before you came forth into this physical body, have established and provided for you. And now we want you to use the framework upon which you stand that you have for so long intended from your non-physical perspective. And we want you to embrace life, all life, through your physical eyes in this physical format. And in doing so, but at the same time, by caring deeply about how you feel, you bridge both worlds. And in a very short time, you won't be longing to dream a dream that is so different from what you're living, because what you're living will continue to follow the path of who you really are. In other words, another and another and another and another and another glorious physical experience will unfold for you that will be far better, because it is far more pointed and far more real and far more exaggerated source energy. In other words, this is the leading edge of thought. The dream state is stepping back from that focused perspective.
But the dream was just, as I said, that was just one idea, because that was a very good model for me.
We know, but it still falls into the category of scapegoating. It still falls into the category of not focusing where I am, because focusing where I am has an edge to it that is a little less than comfortable. And we want you to stay focused where you are and make the edge where you are comfortable, rather than stepping back from that edge into something that just naturally feels more comfortable.